Hi, this is Sue again. We're currently having an ice storm in New Hampshire, so I thought I'd take this time to make you guys another video, this time on budgeting regarding my 7-month van life cross-country tour I just came back from. In this video, I'm breaking down my full trip budget, gas, food, camping, and the stuff people don't always talk about. As you saw in my previous video, I traveled to Florida, across the Southwest, up the coast of California, down into the belly of Utah and California mountains, up to Alaska, back to Utah, and then back home to New Hampshire. Everyone is always asking how much van life costs, so I tracked everything on this trip. Let's start with gas, because usually that's the biggest expense on a trip. First of all, I picked the Ford Transit Connect, not a Ford Transit or a Ram van, because it's easier to drive and it has better gas mileage. Saving gas is easier when you build a few smart habits into your routine, like topping off your tank when prices are low instead of waiting until it's nearly empty and costs more. When the posted speed limit is over 70 or 80 miles an hour, I drive below the speed limit because it can make a noticeable difference, since smoother, slower driving usually burns less fuel than speeding and doing sudden accelerations. I have gotten my gas mileage down to 27.2 miles per gallon. On top of that, using gas apps to compare nearby station prices and track trends can help you plan fill-ups more efficiently, so you're not stuck paying extra when cheaper gas options are just down the road. So I was out on this trip for approximately 203 days. I drove approximately 26,855 miles and spent about $3,944 on fuel. Let's talk about food. Food is where I save the most money. Living on the road in a van, I keep meals simple. I buy groceries instead of eating out, and I'm practical by cooking easy foods that don't cost much or require fancy equipment. I rely on basics like pasta, eggs, canned or pouched chicken, sandwiches, soups, SpaghettiOs, peanut butter and jelly, packaged pulled pork, tortellini, pancakes, cereal, yogurt, which are cheap and filling and easy to store. Cooking in the van instead of eating out saves a lot of money, and planning meals ahead helps avoid waste. I don't drink alcohol, which cuts costs even more and keeps me focused and healthy while I'm traveling. By shopping at grocery stores instead of convenience stores, using a small stove, and choosing simple homemade meals, I'm able to enjoy van life on the road while keeping my budget under control. So for 203 days on the road, my food budget was about $1,695 for the trip. I did eat out a little, and this totaled about $433. I tracked my ice cream money, which was $24, and I tracked my soda money, which totaled about $34. Where do you spend overnights when you are traveling in your van? Because I love the outdoors and I love to save money, boondocking is a good way to do both. Boondocking is a form of camping where you stay overnight, usually in a remote, undeveloped area, usually without water or electric or sewer. I search where I want to stay mainly by using iOverlander. iOverlander does identify resources, so I usually like to boondock at places that have a pit toilet or a nearby toilet. Just in case I don't have either, I am equipped in the van to manage my business. Boondocking is beneficial for your budget because it significantly reduces or eliminates campground fees, which can be one of the most biggest ongoing expenses when you are traveling or living in a van. By staying on free or low-cost public lands, such as those managed by Bureau of Land Management or National Forest Services, you can save hundreds of dollars compared to paid campgrounds. So, in 203 days, I had 8 nights of camping, and the rest of the nights were free. So what are those other things that people spend money on that they rarely talk about? So I was in Canada about a month. I did not research ahead of time if my credit card charged me conversion fees. They're out there. Look for them. So I collect stickers and decals. I put them on my Thule. I put them on my van. I put them on my storage containers. Okay, I admit I might have a problem. Van maintenance was the largest and had the most unexpected cost while I was traveling. On this trip, I did have the usual maintenance. I had 2 oil changes. One was free because I have the Ford Points plan. I had to fix 3 dings to the windshield unexpectedly. One of them I used my car insurance. One of the maintenance stops I had while I was traveling was to replace the cabin filter and the fan motor because while I was parked, a mouse got into the compartment and tried to make a house. So while I was traveling up in British Columbia, I noticed a rattling noise down by the steering column. I wanted to make sure that the steering wheel wasn't going to disconnect while I was driving, so I had to have that checked. The service person said something probably fell down into the air duct. At one point during the trip, I noticed that one of my tires was bulging. I brought it into the shop and the tires were still under warranty, so I had 2 tires replaced for free. This could have been a really disastrous result if it had not been noticed. The most expensive and unexpected repair was a result of driving on a couple roads I had no business driving on with my low clearance vehicle. I had undercarriage damage to my gas line and my gas tank. It was significant. So overall, van maintenance and unexpected repairs cost me $5,000. So another unexpected expense was an emergency room visit. I was hiking in Utah in a wet area and I slept on a rock. I waited a week and it wasn't getting better, so I went to have an x-ray. It wasn't broken, but it did take a few months to get better. Purchasing showers on the road can be expensive. At truck stops, they can cost up to $25. I will only purchase a shower when they are under $4. Otherwise, here are 3 ways I wash up while I'm on the road. The first way, that doesn't happen too often, is that I rig up a shower compartment at the back of my van. I use a solar shower and recently have brought a rechargeable shower head. The second way is that I heat up water on my stove and do a bucket bath inside the van with my collapsible bucket. I usually wash my hair separately when I do it this way. I wash my hair with a hose on my water jug. So for this 7-month trip, I paid under $10 for showers. To save money, I wash my clothes in my collapsible bucket with biodegradable soap in the van. I hardly ever go to a laundromat. That's very expensive. I only wash as much as I can hang dry in the van. I wear simple clothing on my trips, and it's worth mentioning that I only do my trips in the summertime. Ever notice how one innocent GPS setting can quietly turn your scenic drive into a financial burden? That's why the first thing I do before hitting the road is switch my GPS to avoid tolls, because the fastest route always isn't the financially smartest, and because the best views aren't behind a paywall. I do collect souvenirs while I travel, not refrigerator magnets or things that sit on a shelf. I collect socks, hats, and t-shirts. Every time I wear them, I have a fun reminder of my experiences and what shaped my journey. Other expenses I had were entrance fees. Entrance fees are worth it when they can unlock experiences you simply can't get anywhere else. When an entrance fee leads to an unforgettable use of immersive history or moments that stay with you long after the road ends, it stops feeling like a cost and starts feeling like an investment in the experience and your lifetime itself. My last category is miscellaneous expenses. I'm pretty strict when it comes to spending money, so I don't have a lot of items here. But I did have to buy wag bags a couple times. Of course, my supply of chips and candy while I drive, air for my tires, car wipes, insect cream, the no-see-ums got me, Hygiene, some of those dirt roads were killer, and I mailed some stuff home, plus 1 car wash. So in total, this 203-day van life trip cost me about $14,000. That's for food, gas, van maintenance, medical, tolls, souvenirs, entrance fees, and boondocking, 23 national parks, and over 78 destinations. So van life doesn't need to be expensive. You just need to be prepared and intentional. Well, thanks for watching, and see you on the road.